Which table represents the bar graph below? So you look at the tables, look at the bar graph, and see if you can figure out which set of data is being illustrated. Notice that one way to do it is you could pick out this bar. And that bar is over 80. It looks like it's almost 90. So look at the B values in your stuff over here. You have a 44, a 67. It cannot be either of those. So that's out. So you're down between 79 and 92. Well, this clearly goes over 80. So it cannot be that one. Therefore, the answer is B. On this graph, let's take a look at this one, A. Clearly, that cannot be 77, 95, or 50. So you only have one choice, which is A. Let's choose this one, C. It's over 80. But look at this. All of these C's are over 80. So let's choose something else like A. It looks like it's right up to 20. So it doesn't go beyond 20, so it cannot be that. It cannot be this, and it cannot be this. So the answer is D. On this graph, let's take a look at something like this one, D as in dog. It goes almost up to 80. So let's look at all of these. It clearly cannot be D. It does not go beyond 80, so it cannot be B, and it cannot be A. So the only choice is C. Let's see, let's choose A, and it goes just a little bit over 80. It can't be this, this, or this. There's only one choice, C. In this case, which bar graph represents the table at the bottom? So here is the table. You have 83, 11, 97, and 30. Let's pick something out like B. B must be 11. And let's see, it clearly cannot be this. So let's make a bigger marker. There we go. Cannot be D. And if B is 11, then notice how far that one goes up. Can't be that one. But if we come over here and look at this and this, I guess it's possible it could be either of those, so let's pick something else. Let's pick 83 for A. And notice over here that it's close to 100. And over here it doesn't look like it goes beyond 75, which is the halfway point between 50 and 100. So it would not be C. The only choice you have there is A. Alright, let's take a look at 82 for B. And any of these in here looks like they're not going to be close to 82. This one, that's not going to be close to 82, so we can eliminate that. Everything else I'm not too sure about. So let's go to D. D is 14. This one goes way beyond 50. And up here you can see that that's getting really close to 50, so that one's going to be out as well. So the choice must be D. Alright, let's take a look at 83 for C. Clearly this one isn't going to go over. And for the one over to the right, it's possible for D. This one is really close to 100, too close to be 83, so that one is out. Alright, so C and the other one, A and D I'm not too sure about, so let's find something else like 68 for B. I really can't tell from the B, so I'm going to go to A. A is supposed to be 30, but that one goes way over 50, so that one is out. Should be D. Which table below represents the bar graph shown to the right? So notice you have a blue column and a red column, 1 and 2, for A, B, C, D, and E in each table. You have to figure out which table of values is being graphed over here. For example, A will have 2 columns with it, one that represents 95 and one that represents 5 in red, if that's the right one. So let's start, and we'll just start there. 95 and 5. Could A here in this chart be 95 and 5? Yeah, so let's double check it with B. 43 and 2. That looks like it could work out. 61 and 19. Yes. So I believe we have the right answer on the very first choice. It is A. All right, well, we'll start with A again on this one. 34 and 91. That's possible. 11 and 72. That's possible. 57, 71. That's possible. What about 69 and 46 for E? Yeah, I think that's it. Answer is A. Well, let's see if A is lucky again. 30 and 70. That's possible. 33 and 21. Yeah, that's possible. How about E? 24 and 26. Yeah, so I think it's A again. All right, on this one, which table represents the scatter plot? So we'll start with A up here, and let's see if that point shows up. -7, -1. You start in the middle, you go -7, out this way, and then down 1. Is there a point there? No, so it cannot be that. -5, -4. Here's -5 and -4. Not going to be that. Let's try -9, -7. Well, -9 goes clear off the graph, so it's not going to be that, but let's just double check this to be 7 and 5. And there it is. So the choice is D. If we look at C and go over 1 and then down 7, there it is. 8 and 6. Here's 8 and then 6. It's going to be C. Right. 6, -7 from D. There it is. How about 4, 8? There it is. So it's going to be D. Which linear equation below is graphed? Here's what you would have to do. One way you could do it is this. If you look here, in order to convert this equation in choice A into slope-intercept form, where the intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis, you would have to keep your 9y on the left, move the 6x to the right, change the sign, and then divide everything by 9. We've done this before. And if you simplify it, you get a -2/3 x plus 2/3. So that means in this case here, in this line, it would cross the x or the y-axis at 2/3. And 2/3 here on the y-axis would be right there. Is that where that line is crossing? Does this line cross at 2/3? No. Alright, so let's zoom out of that and go back over here to this choice, B. Now notice that we did not use everything from that equation. The y-intercept can be found by doing this. This number divided by this one. So if I divide 5 by 10, what fraction do I come up with? 1/2. Is that line crossing at 1/2? No. Okay, so we'll come over here to this. 10 divided by 9. What fraction is that going to give me as a mixed number? 10 over 9. 1 and 1/9. Yeah. Okay, let's look at this one. 7 over 3. What fraction am I going to get? What mixed number from 7 over 3? 2 and 1/3. So our two choices are down to 1 and 1/9 or 2 and 1/3. Which will this be? It'd be how much? 1 and 1/9, yeah. And the 1 and 1/9 came from C. Okay, that's one way. Here's another way that you can eliminate some choices. Let's go back and look at each of these. And I'll change my marker to red. Alright, to get the slope from that first one was this, -2/3. That came from reducing this, which came from moving this term here over to this side, changing the sign, and dividing by 9. What is with the y? So look at it back up here. This number, change the sign, and divide it by that. Just think about the sign only. It comes over here, becomes negative, and if I divide by a +9, what's the sign going to be? Negative. If it has a negative slope, that means that it's going to fall in this direction. Does that line fall in that direction? No, so you could eliminate that as a possibility. Let's come back up here. If I change the sign of this, if I make that -8 and divide by a +10, what's the sign? Negative, so it's got to fall this direction. It does not. And then let's go over here. If I change this to positive and divide by a positive, what's my sign? So it could be a possible answer. That means we've narrowed it down to at least this. And then this one, if I divide that, or if I change the sign to positive and divide by a positive, what's my sign? Positive. So there are two possible choices we could have. So you have two different things at your disposal to use. And we said the choice there would be 1 and 1/9, and that came from C. Well, let's see if we can eliminate some options here based on the sign of the slope. In choice A, I am going to change this to negative and divide by a positive. That's going to give me a negative slope. Is that choice A still possible? Yes. Alright, so we're still good there. For B, I'm going to change this to negative and divide by a positive. Am I still good? Yes. Change this to a positive and divide by a positive. Am I still good? No, so that's gone. And then for D, change this to a negative, divide by a positive. Am I still good? Yes, okay, so we only eliminated one choice. So now we're going to have to go to the slope. And the slope is going to be changing the sign here. That's a -2, and then put it over the +4 there. That gives me a -1/2. Or not the slope, I'm sorry, we just did that. It's too early in the morning. We need to do the y-intercept. It is 9 divided by this number. So 9 over 4 gives me 2 and 1/4. Is this line crossing at 2 and 1/4? No, so that's gone. Now we have two choices eliminated. How about 1 over 4? Could that line be crossing at 1 over 4? Yes. It could be. So let's check this. 3 over 9. 3 over 9 is 1/9. Could that line be crossing at 1/9? Let's see here. Here's the exact middle of that mark, and here is what appears to be the middle. You could try to eyeball it from that, or you could try to find a point on here that you think is falling on this line exactly, or somewhere on the grid. Is there any point on here that's falling exactly on a line like this? Or anything directly on the y-axis other than the y-intercept? Where at? At -2, and this one, it looks like it's off just a little bit, so I think we have no choice except to try to eyeball this one in here. Alright, we're down to two choices. It was 1/4 and 1/9. Which do you think that this mark here is going to represent? Think about this. If I start here at 0 and I go up 1/9, if this is 1/9 here, can I fit 9 more spaces like this in this area up here? No, I cannot. So it must be what? 1/4, and that came from which choice, B or D? B. So it is B. Let's see what we can eliminate on this one. Okay, we'll start up there with A. And let's see what we can eliminate just with the y-intercept. -3 over 5. A -3/5. Could this be a -3/5? It's possible. What about -5 over 3? A -5 over 3 is a -1 2/5. Is it possible that this one is at -1 2/5? Remember, you're going between 0 and -5. Yeah, it looks to me like it's still possible. Alright, so over here, 7 over 5. That's 1 2/5. Or no, yeah, 1 2/5. Is that crossing at a +1 2/5? No, that one's gone. And then on D, +2 over 9. Is that crossing at a +2 over 9? Nope, that one's gone. Okay, let's look at the slope. For the slope, let's change this to a -6 and put it over +5. Does that give me a negative slope? -6 over 5. Does that give me a negative slope? Yes. And what about -9 over 3? Is that a negative slope? Yes, it is. Okay, so let's see what we can do here. Try to sort this out. I'm looking at this dot here. This one. That one's close. That's real close, and that one is at 1, a +1. Let's see what happens if I put a +1 in for x into this equation. 6 times 1 plus 5y equals -3. That just gives me 6 plus 5y equals -3. So 5y equals -3 minus 6. 5y equals -9. and y would be a negative 9 over 5, which is the same thing as a negative 1 and 4/5. That's almost to negative 2. Is that what is being illustrated here on the y-axis? A negative 1 and 4/5 here. Is this point here a negative 1 and 4/5? No, it is not. So by process of elimination, the answer would have to be B.